Welcome back to the Enabling Network. I'm your host, Dr. Frederick B. Covington, and CEO of iHoma Healthcare. Today, we're going to talk about something that many providers whisper about, but few are willing to actually say publicly. The phrase sounds logical, it sounds compassionate, it sounds responsible. Just add one more staff. But here's the real question. Is staffing the problem or is structure the problem? Because if the structure is broken, adding more people doesn't fix it. It just makes the system a bit more crowded. So let's talk about it. So what's the assumption? In human services, especially within Medicaid waiver systems, when there's a crisis, when there's burnout, when there's a behavioral escalation, the instinctive response is we need one more staff. And staffing absolutely matters. The direct support professionals are essential. Service coordinators are essential. Nurses are essential. Therapists are essential. This is not an anti-staffing episode, but here's what we must acknowledge. If the system requires constant human presence to stay stable, that's not staffing strength. That's structural dependency. So now let's look at what's really happening. Let's look at these patterns. Staff turnover is high. Coverage gaps happen. Overtime increases burnout. Vacancies create instability. Consistency suffers. So what happens? We stack people onto fragile systems instead of asking, why does this individual or person that we're serving require 24/7 physical presence to remain safe? Why are we using human labor to solve what may actually be a design issue? Now, in many cases, support models are reactive, not preventative. And reactive systems damage more people. Now, let's look at structural inefficiency. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Some support gaps aren't caused by a lack of staff. They're caused by lack of infrastructure. So, if there are no remote monitoring safeguards, there are no environmental supports, there are no predictive alert systems, there is no sensory regulation plan, and there is no structured behavioral data system, then yes, you will need more staff because the environment itself is unstable. We must start thinking like architects of support systems, not just schedulers of shifts. So now let's kind of talk about where assistive technology and remote supports come in. So remote supports are not a replacement for staff. They are a supplement. Remote supports create backup coverage, overnight monitoring, immediate system alerts, predictable safety checks, data-informed response, reduced dependency on constant physical presence. Instead of needing 3 people in a home at all times, what if 2 are supported by structured remote systems? Instead of calling in emergency overtime, what if automated alerts prevent escalation before it becomes a crisis? Instead of relying on human memory, what if data systems guide decision making? This is not about reducing people. It's about reducing fragility. So here's the human impact. When staffing becomes the only solution, we unintentionally increase burnout, create instability when someone calls out, we limit flexibility, we reinforce learned dependency, we drive up costs without improving outcomes. But when staffing is supported by infrastructure, staff feel safer, individuals gain independence, families gain peace of mind, agencies can gain sustainability, DDS gains measurable stability, and overall, that's systems thinking. Now let's look at the fiscal reality of this. So let's be honest. Waiver systems are not unlimited funding models. If every gap is solved by add another person, eventually the model collapses under its own weight. Remote supports and assistive technology create scalable solutions. They stretch dollars. They improve consistency. They reduce crisis dependency. And they do it without compromising dignity. So let's look at it from a balanced perspective. So first of all, let's be clear. Some situations absolutely require high staffing ratios. Medical complexity, intensive behavioral needs, acute transitions, but many environments operate with staffing as the first tool instead of the last safeguard. The goal is not fewer humans, the goal is smarter systems. So, the next time you hear just add one more staff, I want you to pause and ask, is this a staffing issue or is this a structure issue? Because sustainable care isn't built on endless personnel. It's built on intentional design. Assistive technology and remote supports are not futuristic ideas. They are present-day tools. And when integrated correctly, they protect staff, empower individuals, and strengthen systems. That's not theory. That's the future of support delivery. Now, if this conversation challenged you, good. That means we're thinking at a higher level. This is the Enabling Network, where we move beyond reaction and we build smarter systems of care. I'd like to thank you for joining me for this episode of the Enabling Network. I'm Dr. Frederick B. Covington, your host and CEO of iHoma Healthcare, and we'll see you next time. Take care.